Hello and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about the myth of multitasking. Hey Janine.
Hey Shannon, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. I feel that I am hearing the soothing tones of a purring cat, and I am enjoying that.
You are. She's like wrecking this whole thing of multitasking. She's trying to get me to multitask, to scratch her as she wants to be scratched while we record.
That's right, and she does not realize that probably either the recording or the quality of the scratching, or perhaps both, will be negatively affected by this.
Yes. Because, I mean, although if there was something that you could multitask while doing, holding a cat while having some sort of an online meeting is one of them.
Yeah, but with your cat, she has such exacting expectations, specific ways to be petted, that I'm not sure that's true.
It is.
I could scratch a poodle head and it wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
You're going to get yourself attacked.
Well, she just will keep requesting and basically putting herself in the position of how she wants to be scratched until she's scratched that way.
Sweet girl. She's such a sweet girl.
She's very sweet. But yeah, so you may hear the dulcet tones of the cat purr.
Yes, that's a nice thing. I think scientifically it's like literally a soothing thing for everyone to hear.
It is. And I think it actually is healing. Like they've done studies that it helps bones heal faster.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm not making that up.
I think you're not. I think you're right.
Yes, but back to the myth of multitasking. Mm-hmm. This is something that I'm having to remind myself about 89 times a day, that I cannot multitask.
Yeah. That is literally impossible. There's no such thing, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there really isn't. But, on a good day, there's not multitasking. And on a bad day, then it's just like everything is bad. Sometimes you can do rapid shifting that is relatively effective because that's really what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's just means you end up doing all things poorly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have to remind myself of that as well. And I definitely have that inclination if I'm doing something relatively passive. I mean, probably shouldn't be passive. Like, let's say, talking on the phone. I'll find myself looking at something on my computer or what have you.
Right.
It means, and then I'm always amazed. Not amazed. Why am I amazed? It happens all the time. That I have, if I'm listening to a podcast while I'm, let's say, writing something, I totally miss the podcast, right?
Or and then probably have an error in whatever you're writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true. This topic came up the other day. I was getting my haircut and talking with Kim, my hairdresser, and we were like in the middle of this conversation, and my phone, or not my phone, but my watch buzzed, and I looked at it, just like not even thinking about it, and then it was like I could not read it and also listen to her, and she was asking me a question. It's like, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, it's like you pressed mute on her.
Right.
Yeah, and that gets me thinking. I guess hairdressers can multitask because they always are talking while they're cutting your hair.
Right.
I wonder if they have special skills honed over years of experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are situations where I think you can truly multitask. Like, I know I can't anymore, like, have a conversation and do something that takes concentration that I have to pay attention to. But, Kim can. But you throw one other thing into the mix,
Yeah.
and all bets are off. But it's like, I can listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook while I'm driving, as long as I don't also need to be following directions.
And you do miss parts of things as your attention gets caught by something you need to pay attention to when you're driving, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just a really good, it's just good to remind ourselves that we're trying to do something that is not possible.
Right. 70, or was it 89 times a day?
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where sometimes I will just put a sticky note with one word of whatever it is I have to do. Because I think what happens for me is that I often get distracted and try to do two things at once. But I will put a sticky note on my computer with just the thing that I need to finish, the thing that I am doing now, and keep reminding myself, just one thing at a time.
Right.
This is the one thing I am doing right now.
And then you replace it with the next thing if you move on to another task?
Yes.
Oh, that's a really great idea, actually. Very simple.
Yeah.
Catches your eye, it changes.
Right. And I have also turned off a lot of notifications on my phone and on my watch, which becomes problematic in that, I miss texts for days at a time because that my notifications aren't, they're all sort of bungled up. But it does allow me to concentrate on what that one thing is that I'm doing, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, the notifications are so darn tricky, aren't they? Like, you can never get the ones you want. And yet, like, my husband's texts I don't get notified about. Yet, my watch is always telling me that DoorDash is having a special. Or something like that. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I feel like with all of this sort of ambient stuff happening in the world with the pandemic and all these other things, that it has become even more crucial to really focus on doing one thing at a time.
It's almost like a personal challenge. I'm thinking of it like it really requires effort to only do one thing at a time, for me anyway. And it's a challenge I'd kind of like to take on somehow.
Well, the writing something down, and now that you're doing a bullet journal, you could keep a running list. You could put, the thing that you're doing now, and then when you finish that, you cross it off, and then you put the next thing that you're doing.
Oh yeah, I could have like my a page of the focus words for the day, or as they happen.
Right.
That's a
right.
fun
Sort of a
little
running
idea.
list as they happen, and that helps me a lot to, sort of bring me back. And the other thing is to be aware that I'm really tempted by other things. And, that I'm so easily distracted these days. And when something else pops into my head, or I get a notification or something else, whatever happens to make me want to turn my attention to something else, to write that down in my bullet journal so that I can know that I'll come back to it and I can let it go and finish the first thing.
You don't have to worry about forgetting it. You write it down. That frees up your mind, the curiosity or whatever. That's a great idea. I do that with genealogy research, where when I come across something that's not relevant to what I'm trying to research,
Right.
I write it down so that I have a follow-up notebook, right? I never know it, so I can come back to it. And it is very freeing because you do worry. I mean, I worry constantly about forgetting things.
Yeah.
And and I know that I feel like my memory is getting worse and worse, but I'm sure being so distractible is a big part of that.
I think so. Because, we're sort of flitting, whether it's ideas or actual things, from thing to thing. And so nothing sort of gets into your memory banks long enough for it to become a solid memory, like a solid into your long-term memory.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a sad state of affairs.
I know. And, our working memory, sort of what's in your conscious mind at any one time, is limited.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why, when there's sort of external things that are sort of on your mind all the time, that the other stuff becomes even more limited. So I think this is still true. I don't know if they've changed anything based on newer research, but the idea was always that you could have 7 bits of information plus or minus 2 at any one time.
In your working memory.
In your working memory.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think we have talked about that maybe in that early episode we did on multitasking. That's so few. I mean, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I probably mentioned it the last time we talked about it, but that's supposedly why phone numbers were 7 digits.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's right.
Is because that was a number that was easy for people to keep in working memory.
Yeah. That seems to be giving the engineers of the phone system more credit than I believe they maybe do. But, because, it started out with fewer numbers. It's not like they started with...
Well, it was a word and 5 numbers.
No, but before that it was like less than that. Because I've seen, I see old documents, right? They'd be like,
right.
Early ones had like 4. But yes, and as a quick aside, when I grew up, my phone number was Jackson949, blah, blah. And my name is JA9. So, yeah. So then when they switched from JA9 to 529, my PE teacher in grade school started calling me 529, which I did not appreciate.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
And there were only 2 exchanges back then in Walla Walla, Jackson 9 and Jackson 5. So, anywho, talk about a little distraction there. Sorry.
Yeah. But that's how it happens. Mm-hmm. And then that makes me want to Google something. And then it's and then that reminds me of something else. And then I'm like, what was that number that we had when I was a kid? And, and it, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, you're 9 miles away from what you started.
Right. When you need a Post-it note on your computer with a word on it to tell you what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But in the best of circumstances, all you're doing when you think you're multitasking is rapid switching. You're going back and forth between different tasks. And there's lots of research to show that every time you switch context, it takes more effort. It takes more brain power with every context switch. And so, sort of giving yourself bumpers and blinders and whatever you need to stay focused on the one task that you're completing, the easier it will be to complete.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense to me that it would take longer to do 5. It would take you an hour to do 5 things that would take 10 minutes each if you did them one at a time.
Right.
I made that figure up, of course.
Yeah. But, I know. I'm trying to do the quick math. Wait.
Yeah.
Is that better or worse?
It's worse. Yeah. Right. That's really interesting, and it's a timely reminder for me because it's something I've battled with a lot lately. I'm going to reframe that. I don't like to use words like battle. It's something that challenges me a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the other benefit of remaining focused on one task, or bringing your focus back to one task until you complete it, is that then you get the reward of completing something, instead of like what I end up with in an hour is 5 unfinished things.
Yeah.
And at the end of an hour, instead of had I spent 10 minutes on each task sequentially and finished each one,
right,
then I would have 10 minutes for a break.
Exactly. You could give yourself a 10-minute reward of some sort.
Yes. Anything else that comes to mind about multitasking?
Nope. I love the idea of writing down what you're focusing on. I think that's really a simple, brilliant solution, and I'm going to try it. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to try that too. I've been doing it sort of hit and miss when it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do something. I have to get these things done. But I think just maybe creating that habit. And the other thing that will do is sort of give you a nice overview of what you accomplished in a day. That's always a nice thing to pay attention to too.
Absolutely, because we don't acknowledge our accomplishments enough, I don't think.
That's right. All right. Well, we would like to hear from you, our listeners. Are you too struggling with multitasking? You can let us know how you handle it. On Facebook and Instagram, we're at Getting to Good Enough. On Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. You can head over to the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com, or you can tell us all about it in a voice message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. Until next time, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope.
That's hilarious.
Oh, goodness. We hope, it's not just me, but Janine too hopes that good enough is getting easier for you. I don't know, maybe you hope something else?
All I hope is that good enough is getting easier for our listeners.
Excellent, me too.